nations that embrace their creativity and innovation, you can tell that they're very successful. 1 week back I was in Italy, and I was embracing and taking in the heritage that is very synonymous with their architecture, you know. And I started reflecting on my home, which is Uganda, and the creators or the architects, are they embodying the cultural relevancy of our work or of our philosophies in their creations, you know. So for me, I think we need to be very much adaptive to our creative industry. We need to support the creative industries, and we need to enable creativity to happen. So I believe in the power of arts and culture to change the world, you know, because I think somehow all of us as human beings, we get back to arts and culture in one way or the other. We interact with creativity, right? Let it be music, let it be fashion, let it be architecture. We all somehow interact with these things, but what's unfortunate is that the people in these spaces get the least, you know. During COVID-19, for instance, when there was a global pandemic, which I experienced, one of the kind, we all sort of like moved back to the arts. We watched movies, we're binging movies, we're listening to music, we were commissioning podcast producers to be able to give us conversations that could reflect the times and make us make sense of everything that was happening, you know. We're going to the museum, I know most museums were actually closed, but we're interacting with something that is creative. So for me, that shows you how creativity is actually a necessity in our lives. And actually culture, a culture worker is what was Museveni saying? We need to ensure that we need essential workers. Like there's someone he was using, you know. So I felt like creativity, arts, culture is an essential good for human survival. So I've dedicated a lot of my work in enabling creative spaces for these people to thrive, but also I'm reflecting on funding, which is also an issue within the creative industries. For the last 10 years, I've been programming, and now I'm moving into impact investment. So that means that how can we reimagine funding the creative industry without necessarily putting strings attached? A lot of funding that comes here is very much, you know, it does not meet us at the point where we need to meet it, okay? There's a lot of strings attached, so a lot of creatives are having to leave their process in order to blend within a process because there's money, okay? So reimagining funding is also something I'm prioritizing in my work. Yeah, pretty much that's it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you.
I do everything you do, so I relate to everything you say. I understand the necessity for reimagining how we utilize resources. And also, I think part of the conversation we're having today was to be about creative community asset and like mobilization of resources. And so I think it would be great to have a conversation about that after everyone checks in.
Hi everyone, my name is Ricky, and where are we? Okay, we're here. So for the last 2 minutes, I've been thinking about what we've been doing in this space. Good gathering of amazing people, smart heads, thinkers, creators, and whatnot. And I think it's been a long time since I've been part of this kind of conversation, since the last Back to the Source. That was the last time I joined, and it's good, it's a privilege to be back and have the same conversations going on. But again, I think there's so many questions, and at one point we need to answer these questions. So I'm always moving forward towards how do we answer all of these questions, and how do we have actual, actionable solutions towards what we've been talking about, because there are so many things that are happening. I think for the last 25 years, for example, in Uganda, in the hip-hop community, there's a lot that we've been trying to put together, Bavuka All-Stars, Bavuka Dynasty, and different other families around Kampala, Uganda, East Africa, and I think the fruits that we're having and we're celebrating every year are really, really great. And being part of those people who are on the front line, on the builder's lane, on whatever lane is there to make sure that we're not wasting our time, but we're giving back to the community. We are, gearing conversations that bring more change. It's good to, it's exciting to hear people traveling. It's exciting to meet new faces. But again, the biggest question, big elephant in the room is, what are we trying to do together and how do we get to that point, And of course, like right now we're over 10,000 years of wisdom and knowledge. And I was just thinking about how do we all together move like water, like flow without energy. Of course, there are so many things that can come in our way, but at least somehow we can anticipate different issues that we didn't notice. Back in the day, we didn't anticipate a lot of things. That's why sometimes we had a lot of chaos. But I think for now, I've been thinking about it for a long time, and it's a good space to have to be part of a remix today, to think about what we're doing, from the dance, from film, from whatever creativity or whatever elements that we have here that are represented. And with that, I am a b-boy for the last 25 years now, and it's been really, really great, amazing journey that I've been part of. But these days, I am just a human being. I would love to just celebrate people and enjoy the time that we're living together, and just look at everyone and say, this is my sister, this is my brother, what can we do, what can we celebrate? And for me, that's the most amazing thing that's happening. And if we can do this constantly every single year that we get to do, we meet and we talk. Besides the industry, I want to be the best artist, besides I want to be the best DJ, but you as a human being, how are we helping each other to grow, to live, to thrive, not even survive, to thrive, to be blessed abundantly in different ways, to have the next generation be part of this and just come here and enjoy and take in and just, we help them, cultivate, and so that in the next 20 years there's a generation that we've created based on not what was out, but within us, and it goes out. Thank you.
I think you touched on a really good point. And I wanted to ask you a question, because you were saying that you spend a lot of time, like you're thinking about these things. Has any idea come across your mind, something, has anything solidified? Like you're like, I think this could be one of the things that we could focus on, or one of the approaches that we can move forward as a community?
Yes, there are so many of those ones, and I think if we do have spaces, it doesn't need to be a very expensive space, but if we have a space where we could just, my brother here has a best Tuesday night in Kampala. I haven't been there. I do apologize. I can't include, I have also other things, and the little one is always like, you need to do that. But he has a very good space. But I think technology is something that's missing in our space, and that's a very beautiful world that we can explore. That's a beautiful world that we can tap into in different ways, and it does open up so many conversations in terms of, I heard my brother talk about capital investments. I have no idea what that means, but I have so many questions on how we can go through that. I spent a lot of years working with the US mission through the USID, working on grants and so on.